Mechanical day today. Mechanical. Look at these guys. Cut it out. They got fish hooks. You're doing it again. You're doing it again. I didn't go looking for them, but they're here. Let's put it that way. Both of these guys, girls, they were born right over there against the wall. Their mom's gone now. They had sisters and brothers. All the sisters and brothers are gone. I live out in the country. That kind of stuff happens. But these two are left. They're sisters, as you can tell. And they have obviously would you just quit it? They obviously have different metabolisms, which you can tell. What do you want to do here? She likes to high five. So that's Fatty Cakes. And that's Sketchy. Everybody says pet your cats, be nice to your cats. Well, there you go. There you go. There's our gratuitous feline section. I got a radiator here, as you can see. And I thought about doing one of them, what do you call them, an unbox video? Because I got the radiator off of Scramazon. And actually, I kind of think that it's quite nice. So I thought about that, but then I thought to myself, that would be hypocritical. Because I think unbox videos are stupid, and I don't like them. So I didn't do one. I mean, an unbox video. Pop, 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 and I took it out of a box. And I put it in the car. It fit pretty well. Because these radiators, I assume Camaros are the same. I've never taken a radiator in and out of a first generation Camaro, but they bolt into the rad support with flanges on the side of the old. That radio's too loud, isn't it? Turn the radio down, Sketchy, before we get in trouble. Whew, that was a close one. Right, Sketchy. Where was I? Radiator. Flanges. So the flanges are there, and the holes, they were in close to the right spots, but I had to drill a hole beside the hole. 2 holes, I had to put a new hole beside the hole. So they were close. The fan shroud fits the new radiator just as it fit the old radiator. Their tanks and stuff, the dimensions of the radiator are double tits. They're right on the money. The height of the thing is like everything is good. And what prompted this was I took that one. I'm staring at a hunk of shit leaning up against the booth. You can't see it, but it's right. It leaked through the cores bad. I don't even know how many PSI they got up to pressure test it. It was kind of it would have been a waste of money to pressure test it, but they didn't charge me, so that was nice because they thought maybe I was going to get a record. But for $1,000, $995 to recore the factory radiator for this. And use the existing tanks. And the tanks are kind of bitched up on that thing too. Like somebody's welded a whole corner into one top, soldered it in, brazed it. I don't know. But $1,000? Seriously? So this aluminum radiator, it's got a really shiny, like it's one of them, the sticker on it kind of turns gold, and then it's purple, and then it's chrome. You know, the Made in China sticker. It's really quite a nice little Made in China sticker. There's fan shroud covers the China though. I don't know. It's not like the welds on this radiator. They're not your Rowan nickels that you're going to pay for some $1 million TV sponsored radiator, but they're welds, and it has a QC sticker on it, which means it's being quality controlled. I'm not sure what their level of quality is in China, but it passed something. Maybe it's because it's all aluminum. I don't know. It passed some kind of level of quality. Anyways, the meat in that sandwich is this radiator in Canadian funds was $265. $265. That's a hell of a lot less than $1,000 to recore a shitty old radiator. And this radiator, I don't know how long it would have taken them to recore that. I just about guarantee you they would have had that radiator for a week and a half or better to recore it. And this one was here in 3 days. And I live in the middle of nowhere in Canadistan. So, radiator's in. Bolted in, hoses on. A brace to hold Mr. Rat support in place. And there's a lot of stuff in. I finally got a correct power steering hose or belt for it. That's the right length, because I'll show you what the problem's been with that. It actually took me a minute to realize why I was having such a problem with that. But I'm dealing with what I got with this car, largely, and that ain't the right power steering pump. And one of the big problems with that pump is what I'm pointing at, because the factory pump would be a round-bodied pump, and that filler neck yoink, comes off the side way over, like in line with that power steering hose. Whereas that one being right there, well, it's right there. That doesn't leave a whole lot of adjustment to tighten up that belt. So it's taken 4 or 5 belts to come up with a belt that will fit on, and yet, like, it's tight to get that belt on, but it's got to tighten up with by the time, like, I can't fit my finger in there, so that's how much adjustment I got. Not a bunch. But that belt will work. And like I said, I'm dealing with what I got. I'm not sourcing out a 1967 Pontiac power steering pump for it. Recap on the car, if you haven't seen it before, 1967 Pontiac Firebird. Tis a, I don't know, it's a hell of a car is what it is. The hood that's not in place has the nostrils on it, plus it's a hood tack car. That is the original numbers matching 400 motor that came in the car. It has number 16 heads on it. Where do you think you're going, Sketchy? She's so sketchy. Number 16 heads on it. I'm told that's a hell of a pair of heads. The block, factory block to the car has the WZ on it. I'm told that makes it a, I don't even know. Everybody comes up with a different number. It's a big horsepower factory motor. That's it. I've heard anywhere from 340 to 365 horse, and I don't know how much torque. Pontiacs make a lot of torque. Everything is original. Like, that's the iron intake on it, blah, blah, blah. Where else are we? Put disc brakes on it. It is a 4-speed car, and it has the factory 4-speed in there underneath it. It has the factory 10-bolt rear end that has been upgraded because you can't buy Pontiac stuff, because it's a posi with, I think it's got 355 gears in it now. I believe it had 390 gears from the factory. Just a quick peek. The interior's getting there. I got cats, and they really like that silver stuff. They think it'll sharpen their claws. But yeah, there's the shtick. Been all through the dash, been all through everything in it. It's ready to... I haven't put power to the car yet. This car has not been anywhere since 1980 something or other, and I ain't joking. This is a 40-plus year, been sitting around kind of a car. The owner of the car, his dad bought this car in late 67. I think the car was brand new. It had a couple of 100 miles on it when he bought it. So that's where we're at. Everybody there is brand new. The owner had all that rebuilt many a year ago. Probably 5 or 6 years ago that motor was rebuilt, and it's been sitting wrapped up. He wants the car that his dad had, and that's a carburetor his dad had on the car. It's a Holley spread bore. You don't see a lot of spread bore carbonators around. But I am getting very close. It is headered. It is exhausted. I just got those. Those stupid gaskets in stores up here, like these are the thicker, what are they, the reflex, so they're a fairly thick gasket. That's what I put on the headers too, because this motor has no forward header bolt and no rearward header bolt. It's weird, hey? Pontiac stuff. Back to the point. Those gaskets in the store here, they are shit. Here, let me put you back up on a stick. Gaskets are goddamn $45 or more on a shelf in a store here. And I had them sent here. They were here in a day and a half off of Amazon, and they were $21. Bitch about buying local all you want, but if you sons to bitches want to charge 3 times what I can get it for, and half the time you don't have it, but you can get it for me by tomorrow or the next day, well, it takes me a half an hour to get into town to a store from where I live. So if I got to go twice, that's killing a lot of time. I'd rather wait another day and have it delivered to the end of my driveway for 1/3 of the cost. So there, stick it. So that's where we're at. I am getting ready to, today is Monday, and I'm going to start this son of a bitch up this week, and I'm going to hope for the best. I would really like the guy that owns this thing to be here when I do that. Mostly for the fact that, I mean, this is a big thing. He's a young fella doing this car. He ain't never had nothing like this before. A lot of sentimental attachment on account of it's his dad's car. It was his dad's car, now it's his car. In the same respect, I don't really know if I want the young fella to be here if this thing goes waka 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 when I first started up, because it's been sitting a long time. I've primed the oil system a couple of times, a few times. The way I primed it is spun it, the pump, pulled the destructicator out, spun the pump, turned the motor quarter turn, spun the pump, quarter turn, pump, turn, pump. I've done that until I had a sore back. I can't lean like that too much anymore, hey? Like 10, 15 minutes, and then my back hurts for the rest of the day. And I got some more leaning to do because I backed all the valve train off because this thing sat with the valves adjusted for, like I said, probably 5 or 6 years. So every single valve, every single rocker that had an open valve on it collapsed the lifters, I believe. Because they were all dead even. There wasn't an open valve on this motor anywhere, and there should have been lots of them. So we'll go through that. Oil in the transmission, valve train, plug wires, antifreeze, and a battery. And I'll have to do a power check first. I put a new engine harness in it, but it hasn't had a battery in it in many a year. And I see that there's a couple of fuses in there that are wrapped up in cigarette foil. So we'll have to have a look at that. I think it's just for backup lights though, and there's no backup light switch in it. So I got a couple of fans here. I got I got a 5-blader. This is mine. It's been sitting around forever. And then this is the Pontiac fan that come off it. But the clutch doesn't do nothing. Hey, it just freewheels. I don't know how the voodoo works in these things. They got some kind of a temperature. They got a lot of cat hair on them from sitting around. They got some kind of a thermal coil on there. I don't know. It's the heat from the radiator, I guess, expands out a little bit and then it locks something up inside it. I don't know what kind of voodoo is at play with these, but what I'm going to try to do, I guess, is I will try to donate the clutch out of mine to his, because I thought about just putting this fan on because they are the same diameter, but this one's a lot nicer. All them GM haters out there, say what you will. Don't care, it doesn't hurt my feelings none. However, I am in the midst of taking the clutch from obliviously, I believe it's probably a 1980s. I'm a Chev truck guy, so this is going to be off a Chev truck. Guaranteed, without question. That's going to be a 1980s clutch that actually, yeah, it doesn't leak at all. And this one you can see that, I mean, it's just... So that one, all the fluid. I don't even know how they work. They got fluid in them though, because it's all leaked out of that one. Point. That's the fan out of a 67 Firebird, and this is the GM fan that came in that car. So I can take the fan out of a 60s Pontiac, and I can put it on the clutch from an 80s Chev truck. If you're involved at all in the automotive paint world, well, first of all, you're stupid, and you should cut it out. Secondly, I have a plethora, I got a whole bunch, of gray scratch pads. If you're in the automotive paint world, this is where I'm going with this. You know what a gray scratch pad is. It's stupid and I don't like them. And I don't use them. The only use I do have for these, see, you know, and you got reds and grays and greens and everything. Really, the only ones that you would use is be red and gray. Their respective grits, they say, would be, I'm looking at a red one that you can't see. The red ones, over here, are, they say 320 to 400 grit. I don't know. And the gray ones are supposed to be 800 to 1,000 or something. I don't know. They're stupid though. The gray ones would be used for blending clear coats and etc. on cars because of the finer scratch. But everything in the world that we live in nowadays is such a piece of shit that the gray ones don't even scratch nothing. However, they make dandy for cleaning stuff. And so I got a whole shitload of them in my cabinet back there. And generally that's all I use them for, is cleaning stuff up. Especially something like this, because these fan blades are aluminum. And they are kind of pitted and they are kind of shittied up because as old as they are and nobody ever took care of them because, I mean, whatever, right? However, if you want to clean something up, like that was a 30-second scrub, right, with the gray one, and it gives it a nice brushed look. So that's what I use them for, is cleaning shit. I ain't touched a car with a gray rag and I don't even know how long. Even when I'm blending, I don't use them. So we're going to give this a bit of a scrub. It's only going to come up so good. I mean, it's... How old is it? Born in 67. Oh, the son of a bitch is a year older than me. I can tell you how old it is. This is a 57-year-old fan. It's in better shape than me. Do I swear too much? I know that a lot of the videos that I watch, you know, the people that I watch anyways, they go through a concerted effort to not cuss in their videos. And I think if you can't call a son of a bitch a son of a bitch when the son of a bitch is being a son of a bitch, well then, I mean, what's the point in life? Really? I mean, why are you breathing? And to me, that kind of stuff, honestly, it kind of comes with the coveralls. As soon as I put the coveralls on, then I'm going to call the son of a bitch a son of a bitch when I see a son of a bitch. So that's kind of the way it is, I guess. I try not to be too offensive. I have, though, seen a few comments, because I do read all the comments on my videos, even if there's only 4. Well, that makes it easier then, doesn't it? But there has been a few times that people have mentioned that they don't really like the language, and I don't know. Doesn't really bother me. Sometimes I talk a hell of a lot worse than what you hear, tell you what. And sometimes there's some editing involved to get some of the blue out of the air, we'll say. I reckon I'm going to give this little nugget, a little tickle of black paint here, just on the, you know, on the Hujimafuzz there. I don't know what the hell you call that. What do you call that? Frame? Fan mount? I don't know. I'm painting it black anyway, so there, stick it. So, I got a few pieces of tape to put on here to do that, which I'm going to do. And then, actually, I think before I get too much further and before I forget, I should probably make up some battery cables. That's what I'm talking about. I don't know if this is going to work or not. I've done this before once, but it was many a year ago. Holy Christ, I wore a younger guy's clothes, as they say. The reason I got to do this is Pontiac, in their finite, can you even see me? In their finite wisdom, Pontiac, well, they put the starter where the starter goes on the one side, and then they took the battery and they put it over there. You dumb sons to my... So, the positive battery cable, she's got to be about a 7-footer. 6 anyways, maybe 5.5, I don't know, pretty long. So in trying to find cables, well, I cannot force myself to spend $1,742 on a positive cable because it's a Pontiac. So Scramazon, I believe I think this is 15 foot of 0 gauge welding cable. And I got it, and I got a whole pack of these ends. I don't know how many ends they give you, 10 of them or something maybe. And I think it was $40 for it. So I'll be able to make both the positive and the negative cable out of it. But it comes unended. So for the starter end, they give you the little copper doohickeys, and of course you only put a 1/4-inch hole in the end of it. So the first thing you got to do is give her the hog. So I done that, and now I'm going to try to solder this little turkey on here. Now I done it before, but like, as I said, it was a hell of a long time ago. And these ends, they got a hole in the end here. I'm not sure why. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little torch, oh, look at that little bugger. And I'm going to heat her up and heat her up and heat her up and heat her up, and it's going to turn blue, and it's going to get that cool patina. And I'm just going to keep heating her up, and then I'm going to start feeding the solder to it. When I did it before, there was no hole in the end. So what I done was I put that upside down. I can't remember what I used. That was a long time ago. I was in a little 2-car garage, wherever the hell I was. I might have had a little tiny bench place. And I probably put that in a vise and upside down. And I most likely used a handheld propane torch at that time to do it. And I heated it up, and I remember I had probably a roll of solder like this, and I heated it up, and I just kept on feeding that solder in there, and feeding it and feeding it and feeding it, which is probably going to be the case here as well. So luckily, if it doesn't work, then I'll cut that off and I'll try something different, but we're going to give her a go. Doop, skidly boop. And that's it. That'll do, donkey. That'll do. I would put that on my car. I don't know if you can see it, but there is solder poking out down around the bottom of that on both sides. She's still toasty warm. I'm going to call that a success, I think. Might as well go ahead and, while it's still warm, yeah, boy! So I'm all cabled up here. Got them run up to the front. Like I said, on a Pontiac, the starter's over yonder, and they put the battery over here, so you'd think it was a Dodge. I don't know if you've ever said valves before. I have. I got it written down. It's been a while. Everybody's got their own way of doing it. I ain't smart enough to put cylinder 6 at top dead center and then adjust valves 21, 16, 4, 2.5, and 3. How I do it is when your, let me see if I can remember, when your intake, no, what is it? When your exhaust valve is just starting to open, so this is all neutraled out and I've got all my rockers just hanging right out in the wind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the push rod, and as soon as that exhaust push rod starts to come up, when it's just starting to open the exhaust valve, then you set the intake. Because you want to set that rocker when the lifter is somewhere on the base circle of the cam, and the base circle of the cam is the flat spot on the bottom. The cam lobe is shaped like an egg, you know what I'm saying to you? Well, the base circle is the bottom of that egg, and it opens a valve on the peak of that egg, on the top of the egg. So when the exhaust is just opening, that intake lifter is somewhere on that base circle. I don't know exactly where. I can't tell you the degrees, so cut it out. It's on the base circle of that little son of a bitch. When that intake rocker, valve, push rod in this instance, when it moves up and it's come up a long ways, but before it starts to go down, even if it starts to go down, it would still work. That's when you set your exhaust. Because the way the 4-stroke work, intake opens, gas goes in, intake closes. As that intake is closing, the piston is coming up to give it a push, compress it, gets to the top, spark plug goes boom. As that piston starts going down again, never mind. I'm gonna just, and the way that I'm doing it is, it doesn't matter where you start. You can start on any cylinder that you want, because I'm gonna do it hole by hole, by hole by hole by hole. So that's what I'm gonna do. I have no idea where we're at. I'm just going to rotate it around. As soon as this push rod, like I'll probably put my finger on it, and as soon as that turkey starts to come up, then that's when I'll set the intake. Yeah? Yeah. As soon as I get my ratchet, because it just fell off. Son of a bitch. Oh, gosh. All right, we'll do it from this end. There, it just started to open. So now we'll set our intake on there. So now we can set that on there because it don't matter now. And when we set them, we'll set them at probably a half a turn, I guess. So you run your nut down till it's tight. You know what I'm saying? Till you can just spin it. So there it stops spinning. I'll go back till I can spin it till it's got a little bit of drag on it, right? You can spin it free there a little bit. It's got tension on it. Now put yourself somewhere on the clock where you know what you're doing, and I'm going to give it a half a turn. And that's it. So now we will walk her around until that intake starts to open, or I guess until it's all the way open. So there's our exhaust opening. Now that intake is just tipping open, but you want it to be all the way open. Right there. And now we'll set our exhaust. This is for a hydraulic cam, hey? So that's just got drag on it. So I'll go a half. That's it. That's it. I'm hoping, today's Monday, I'm hoping, probably won't be tomorrow, Wednesday I'm hoping to start this, so the motor will sit for a couple of days like this. But when you buy a new motor, this shit's all done and they sit for months and months like that, so it'll be fine. So I'm going to carry on, put the exhaust on, you can probably put the intake on too, and then now we're setting the exhaust. Yeah? Yeah. A little bit of drag. I'll go to 3 o'clock. Oh, give her to 9. Half. These Nizuts, they're quite loose on this. I'm used to a stiffer dealio, but I guess they're the factory stuff and they're what was on it. So now we want to go with that intake. What was that? That was the exhaust we just set. Jesus, I got a shitty memory. So we go to that, now we go to that exhaust is just starting to open. What's there? It's just tipping the valve there. And now we set the intake. See, I wouldn't have been able to do this before because all the lifters were collapsed. So, I mean, I would have been trying to do this in the bottom of the lifter. You can't do that. So I've gone through this whole side. Another thing to watch for as you're doing this is in an original configuration like this, you should have roughly the same set of threads hanging out of all of these studs. You know what I'm saying to you? If you're looking at one and there's one thread sticking out and the one beside it's got 9 threads sticking out, something's amiss. And I mean, it could be a matter of the studs coming up out of the head because these are pressed in studs. But either way, something's amiss. If you got a problem like that, that's a problem. But I just went through it. I rotated a couple of times, and everybody's doing the wave. Don't be stupid. Jesus Christ. Where are they? I've just always told to glue your gasket to the valve cover, let it set up for you, put them on, because then next Thursday, when you got to get back in there because you got catastrophic failure, well then you don't got to scrap gasket material off of the cylinder head. You can just pull a valve cover off and the valve cover comes off. So that's what I'm going to endeavor to do. So there. So you can take a fan clutch from 40 years worth of different GM vehicles and you can swipper and swapper from one to the other. But you know what you can't do just as easily? Can you hear that? Here, let me see if you can hear this. Can you hear that? You want to guess what that is? That's a fan hitting the power steering pump. And I mean, it doesn't hit it by much. But it's enough. But actually, for whatever reason, the fan doesn't really fit. The fan's got to get into that shroud anyways. But so So, and yeah, like I say, I mean, we want the fan in there further. I think, judging by that they had this fan shroud out a little bit, but that's not going to make all that much difference. And when you move it out that much, it's going to space it out, like it hangs it out from there, and then it's going to pull the air in around that. And you don't want to pull the air in from the side, you want to pull the air in from the front. So I'm going to have to get a spacer kit for the fan. I got a bunch of shit to get tomorrow, probably in the morning. I'll run into town and get stuff, and that's one thing I got to get is probably, well, the camera's exaggerating that space. I'm going to say 1.5 inch spacer, give or take. Bump that ahead. That'll get it off the power steering pump too. Ooh, I got to put some oil in that power steering pump too. Valve train's done. Valve covers torqued. What else have I done? It's been a few hours. I've been doing stuff. Oil on the transmission. See, the package of gaskets is gone. That's because the gaskets are in. That's a gas kits. Spark plugs are tight. You know, I just don't get. Actually, I don't get why I haven't learned. When you get a new set of headers and header collectors and shit, they send you 3/8 bolts. That's your 9/16 head and 9/16 nut. And the holes in your collectors and your flanges and stuff are 3/8 plus a little bit. And so once you get your bolt and your nuts, once you get your nuts on there, you can't get any tools on there, because in order to fit that big of a bolt and that big of a hole into that small of a flange, it lays your bolts right up against your header collectors. So they got 5/16 in them, because that's a bummer. And every damn time I get half of them in there and get cranky because you can't get a stinking tool on the snundamum and the bitch to tighten it up, and then you got to take them out again and put 5/16 hardware in instead of 3/8. On my list, fan spacer, petrol. I have primed the oil system numerous times, so I'll probably do it one more time. Maybe I'll do it again in the morning, and then I'll drop the distributor and phase the old rotor. I'm going to put a shitty temperature gauge in it too, because it has, I'll just about bet you that that's the stock senders over yonder over here for the factory gauge in the dash, and I'm not going to take it for granted that that works on account of it's first fire on the motor. And actually, when I have that out, I'm going to take the opportunity, and it'll probably take me a few minutes, but I'm going to trickle antifreeze down into the block through that, through the temperature sender hole that's in the top of the intake manifold there. Because yeah, I don't want this turkey getting too hot on the first fire up. This isn't my motor. So, son of a bitch. Actually, I think, yeah, that's probably going to be it, because I got to get some stuff before I can really carry on. I can put plug wires on it, but then they're just kind of be in the way, and I don't want them dangling around there when I'm priming the oil pump in the morning. So I'll probably do that tomorrow. So I have very little to do to this thing. Oh, I've got to get some battery clamps too. That's a good size cable, hey? I am happy with that Amazon purchase. It was advertised as a 1/0 cable, and it shows up and it's 0. Zero's better. No aughts is better than any aughts. Kind of smells like gear oil in here. I filled the tranny. Yep, it's a good thing I'm not painting nothing, because gear oil in the air isn't good, and there's gear oil in the air here, but that's okay. So yeah, I am going to put some oil in that power steering pump while I'm thinking about it. I just use tranny fluid. I don't care if you don't like it. That's what I do. And a couple little doodads here and there, but that's it for today. And it's been, actually, like I said, it's been a pretty good day. It's been pretty productive. I'm okay with it. So with that, I will bid you the next video actually probably will be starting this thing. So I'll make sure to do a great big, what do you call, clickbait thumbnail for that.